Sleep deprivation is an issue that affects people no matter what age they are. Whether they're a teenager in high school or an adult with a job, every individual's daily life is filled up with so many different activities that sometimes they can't get the recommended hours of sleep each night.
I'm Dr. Patke Nai from the Hackensack University Medical Center. I'm a pediatric pulmonologist and sleep medicine doctors there. Here today is to discuss what happens with adolescents and teens and how they have difficulties with their sleep, not only with their sleep habits, but also some problems like sleep apnea that can happen to anybody regardless of their age.
After talking with an expert on this issue, we were able to gain more insight on the effects of sleep deprivation and the possible ways to deal with it.
In the sense that energy drinks or things like that, some people even have had to use caffeine supplements. It's probably going to alter your schedule even more because you get a sensation where you're even with caffeine you're going to get overtired because you're not sleeping at the right time. So well, actually when I was younger I always wondered what's the point of sleeping. It seemed almost like a waste of time to actually just sleep when you could be doing things that are more productive. But as I looked into the field, you realize what sleep deprivation does to you, how it makes you decrease the way you perform, how it can make you sort of have irritability, have mood changes, and makes people susceptible to even accidents.
During his presentation, Dr. Nai talked about the different sleep patterns people have according to their age. He explained that the older you get, the more important it is for you to maintain a regular sleep pattern. For example, it is imperative for adolescents to get at least 8.5 hours of sleep every night in order for the brain to function well. Dr. Nai also talked about the different effects of sleep deprivation and how they could lead to serious consequences. He extensively explained sleep apnea because it is one of the more predominantly encountered effects.
Sleep apnea is a condition where your breathing is compromised when you go to sleep. Since we all breathe better than when we're awake compared to when we're asleep, sometimes people cut off their breathing or lose oxygen, and that can lead to sort of like detrimental health effects for some of these kids.
One of his suggestions was creating a sleep log. This log would record the amount of time spent sleeping and those times when you wake up in the middle of the night. The red arrows indicate when you wake up or go to sleep, and the red blocks show when you are sleeping. This could be shown to a doctor if you were to have a serious problem with sleep deprivation.
During his presentation, Dr. Nai was able to talk about the different effects of sleep deprivation at home, on the roads, and in school. He explained that 22% of all teens without 8.5 hours of sleep tend to fall asleep while doing their homework. In addition, 14% of these teens either arrive at school late or completely miss it on a regular basis. This can lead to a higher chance of stress for teens because of the amount of work they need to make up. Also, teens who get 8.5 hours of sleep or more each night have been reported to have more positive moods.
When relating the effect of sleep deprivation to the dangers of driving, Dr. Nai emphasized that more than 50% of adolescent drivers in the U.S. have driven drowsily in the past year. Furthermore, 80% of those drivers have a 65% higher chance of getting into a car crash because they drove drowsily. This shows how a lack of sleep can have an enormous effect on how you drive, putting both yourself and everyone around you in danger. According to the chart that Dr. Nai presented, the number of car crashes greatly increased during the hours in the morning, especially around 6 to 8 a.m. Once again, this proves that if you are not fully awake, it would be best to avoid driving.
Dr. Nai also mentioned the effects of sleep deprivation on a student's performance in school. More than 1/4 of high schoolers fall asleep in school at least once a week if they do not get the recommended 8.5 hours of sleep. Also, 80% of all teens who get this recommended number of hours of sleep are not only able to function and participate more actively during class, but they are more likely to achieve A's and B's.
Dr. Nai also talks about sleep hygiene, which refers to sleep habits that one develops. He explains that it is critical to maintain a regular routine in order for your body and brain to get the rest they need. 4 things he emphasizes is having your own bedroom to sleep in, drinking some caffeine, although not right before bed, turning off the TV, and getting plenty of exercise.
Things like sleep apnea, which causes sleep deprivation, has been linked to an increased risk of things like high blood pressure, increased stroke risk, And in younger kids, sleep deprivation can sometimes be associated with, hyperactivity, entities that we call, ADHD. So as adults, if you don't get a good night of sleep, you might be sleepy, but kids might be wired differently. They might actually get, more, hyperactive in that sense. If you have such bad sleep apnea, where you're losing oxygen, night after night, that eventually puts a strain on your heart, and that can lead to a condition called pulmonary hypertension.
Pulmonary arterial hypertension is abnormally high blood pressure in the arteries of the lungs. It makes the right side of the heart need to work harder than normal. Its symptoms include shortness of breath, ankle and leg swelling, cyanosis, chest pains, dizziness, fatigue, and weakness. Although early stages may seem minor, some people with this condition have developed progressive heart failure that may lead to fatal results.
Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed.
My name is Vic Truselli. I'm a guidance counselor at Bergen County Academies. It's all about time management, but I think sometimes students develop bad habits. So we would take a look at the students' habits and see what we can do to help the student overcome some of those habits that have caused the sleep deprivation. And if they feel like it is a recurring problem, they should consult a doctor to see if there may be any health issues that they're not aware of.
I'm Dr. Dave Niedesick, and I'm the supervisor of academics here at Bergen County Academies. Yeah, I definitely think the lack of sleep gives you noticeable effects on the student's performance. When I was in a classroom and now as an administrator, what I see is the fact that I don't think students are able to focus as well as they should. I would hope that students talk to each other or talk to the teacher about an overload if they really do feel it's excessive, or also, you can speak with your guidance counselor, you can speak with an administrator, but generally the first place you should always deal with a problem is going right to the source. And Dr. So-and-so, Mr. and Ms. So-and-so, do you realize it took us 4 hours to do this? How long did you think it would take? And politely, but politely ask questions. I don't think people have problems with answering questions. It's all, it's not what you say. A lot of times it's how you say it. So if you really think that there's an issue at hand, be polite, be respectful, but speak up and do it in a polite, respectful way. And I think you'd be surprised at how much people are willing to work with you. We want to see you succeed, so that's something to remember. We're not always a person battling against you. So if you think about things in that perspective, I think it will help you make some wise, healthy decisions in the future.
At the zone, 'cause today I swear I'm not doing anything. No, I ain't gonna comb my hair, 'cause I ain't going anywhere. No, 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 no. I'll just strut in my birthday suit and let everything.
An hour or two of sleep. 6 to 7 to 2.
6.5.
I get about 4.5 hours of sleep.
4 to 5 hours of sleep.
7.
Between 5 and 8.
5 to 7. On average, I get about 7 hours of sleep.
5 hours.
Yeah, like about 5 hours.
Usually like 7 or 8.
6.
Sure.
Experts say that teens should get about 8.5 hours of sleep every night.
Well, I'm only an hour off. I make it up in math class.
For teens, it's probably 8 to 9, even though that sounds like a lot. Teens don't have any less of a sleep need than younger children or even adults.
Team, I'd be praised by my friends if I was driving a Mercedes-Benz. Do I know? What do I
think the biggest contributor to sleep deprivation are the many tasks that students have to perform, or they feel that they may have to perform.
how good are you at time management? Truthfully, that's a question that you need to answer. The fact that you can't be involved in everything and anything that you want to be involved in, somewhere along the line you do need to make choices.
Students stay very, very active. It's not to say that any of those activities are wrong or bad, but I think sometimes students might be trying to do too much.
As much as people would like to say activities and extracurriculars are a major distraction, in my experiences with students, I found that that really isn't the case for a majority of situations. But then once you're well into a project and you need to contact your friends, because it's a group project, do you lose focus? How many times do students get into a study group online and then the study group sort of disintegrates into something else? Sleep and health are decisions that I think should be on the top of a priority list so that you're maintaining yourself for the future.
Because I play sports and by the time I get home, eat dinner, take a shower, and do my homework, it's already really late.
In chemistry class, school. I have a lot of work. Math homework.
Minecraft.
Studying for quizzes.
I have so many projects and work to do.
Because I have lots of stuff to learn. And like activities at school that I get to late. Yeah, it's not just homework. Like, I have other stuff besides school. So, like, it's crazy. It really is.
A superhero living the dream, doing the things that I always wanted. I wanna be a rock star, a superhero living the dream, doing the things that I always wanted. I wanna see your face on the TV with my picture on the cover, but you'll never have to wonder, 'cause I'm not like all the others, but my friends will see a different side of me. A different side of me. A different side of me.